Hello and welcome. Halloween is done. A little sad. It's always kind of bittersweet time because I enjoy the day very much. I had a really excellent Halloween this year, actually. But yeah, it's always sad to see my favorite time of year come to a close. However, I do really enjoy Christmas because, yes, I celebrate Thanksgiving, but I don't really decorate for it. This time of year tends to be very exhausting for me. So I have found if I don't decorate, like go straight from Halloween to Christmas, it just does not happen. So that is actually going to be transitioning soon. But before that, I wanted to do just one last autumn themed craft. And I found the perfect inspiration while I was digging through my drawers, looking for a shirt, and I found this. I got this years ago, and even though the body fit fine, the sleeves are always a little snug, and I don't like restrictive sleeves, so I wore it like twice probably. Couldn't bear to let it go though, because like I said, I hardly wore it, and but first, pumpkin spice. Yes, I am a pumpkin spice girly. That should not really be a surprise given the nature of this channel. Anyways, I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of a flip on this shirt by cutting it apart and attaching it to new shirts. Well, one new shirt, one old shirt. Let's look at the bases that I'm going to be using. I knew that I needed a pretty sturdy t-shirt, and I wanted it to be orange because, you know, pumpkin spice. Women's shirts are really wimpy. Like, the cotton is just not good, and since we're also going to be using a flannel shirt as part of this project, I needed something that would hold up. So I just went to Michael's where they have the heavy cotton shirts, and I grabbed one in orange. Not the greatest orange. We are going to fix it. But yes, this was only a couple dollars, and it's going to suit as the base of our project perfectly. So we've got that. The next thing I did was I went into my husband's side of the closet, and I pulled this old beat up flannel. He doesn't really wear it, and I did buy him a replacement one that's really nice, and it's actually a lot softer than this one, so he is perfectly okay with me giving this guy the chop. Yeah, it's just got like some nice warm browns and gray tones, and I thought this would be perfect match for my vibe and would work really well with this as being like the focal point of it. So the plan is to cut off the sleeves and the side of the t-shirt and attach the sleeves and outermost sides of the flannel. But I don't want to waste the rest of the flannel, and I think I'm going to do a secondary project and flip the interior part, the button-up part, into, like, I don't know, maybe a tunic or a dress or something. Still planning that out. That's like I said, we're going to do that as a secondary project, so I have time to think it over while I get the pumpkin spice shirt prepped and ready to go. So yes, this is the plan. I am going to start off by getting this guy dyed because without him being ready, we can't really get started, and he's going to have to dry after being dyed. So I'm going to get right into that. Let's go. Relax in peace. So with our shirt dyed and drying, I think it's okay to go ahead and start cutting pieces apart. So we're gonna take our flannel, and I think what I'm gonna do, because it kind of flares out at the side just a little bit maybe, my plan is to just measure in a couple of inches from the shoulder seam and then use the grid on my cutting mat to just make a straight line going down, and that should be plenty of space then to give us room to get our shirt on and off. Plus we'll still have the stretch in the center, but I do want it to be a little loose fit, so I think based on how far the body comes out compared to the shoulder, that a couple of inches should be plenty of space to have a nice cozy shirt. So let's go ahead and do that. I remembered I have a rotary blade. I think this is going to be easier to just roll along the ruler instead of drawing a line and cutting it and all of that. I haven't changed the blade in a while. I don't remember when I last used it. It's been a while. So hopefully it's sharp enough to do this. We're about to find out, so wish me luck. Pretty well. Alright, I am going to do the other side and then come back when we have a dry t-shirt to work with. We now have a dry shirt that is, I think, a much better suited shade of orange for this project. Definitely giving more pumpkin vibes now. So what I'm going to do is also cut the sides off of this shirt. I'm only going to go in exactly as far as I need to clear the sleeve, I think. Like I said, I do want kind of a cozy, not necessarily fully baggy, but not tight either for this shirt. So we'll get those chalked off, and then I will pull out my machines and we will start assembling the base of the shirt before we start chopping this guy apart. Alright, this worked really well. It is very cozy, very cozy. It has just a little bit of excess in it, not too sloppy. I think it could look cute with a belt. We'll see where the lettering falls on it. I do want to hem the bottom so that it's not uneven with all the shirt piecing. But yeah, I think that turned out exactly how I wanted. The sleeves are too long for me. I think what I'm gonna do is cut the cuffs off, and then I will probably put like trim on the open little V part. Actually, I wonder, I think the second button falls like right where my wrist is. Yeah, so if I cut it just above this button, I can just put like some sort of trim on it, and it will still just button like a cuffed sleeve. So I think that could be cute. I just gotta figure out what I'm gonna use. Actually, maybe I can use the sleeve from the t-shirt for trim on the flannel sleeves. I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because it seems, it's such a small amount of fabric, but if I can make use of it and have like almost no waste, that'd be really cool. So I think that is the plan. The other thing I need to do is I need to cut these out, but I'm kind of tempted before cutting it out to glue something a little bit more stable to the back of it, because I have a feeling it's probably going to do a bunch of curling once it's trimmed, and I just want something that's a little easy to work with to sew to the shirt. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to leave this as one line or if I want to have each word separated. While I mull that over, I think I'm going to start looking at how to turn what is left of the flannel into, I don't know, maybe like a tunic, or possibly might be able to make like a little tunic dress. Definitely something I would need leggings with, or I'd have to lengthen. Unfortunately, there's not quite as much left in the sides of the shirt as I was hoping by the time I was done trimming, but that's okay. I think what I'll do is I'll pull maybe a dress panel just so I can get a sleeve shape with it, and just cut out like the side panel pieces and then attach them, and essentially we'll have a similar situation to what we have here. So yeah, that seems like is probably the best plan I have. So it is time then to pick some fabric to go with this. Okay, I think I have a fabric that will work. It's just an old sheet, and it's got like, if it'll show you, it's just got some very tiny little pinstriping to it, and I think that would work all right as is. But also I still haven't dumped out that dye, so I'm wondering about maybe doing a dye bath on it, to just like cut out the pieces that I need and dye those, and then on the sleeves do a secondary dye bath with black dye, so that it's like a gradient from that. It's gonna, I think, be redder on this and on the shirt, and it would be a gradient to the bottom of the sleeves with a black sleeve, and then maybe we'll also cut out like a ruffle for the bottom that can be maybe just the red, or maybe I'll just go ahead and grab some black material to do as the ruffle. Still not convinced I'm going to do a ruffle yet. This may just be more of a tunic style rather than a full dress, but we'll decide. But I think what I am going to do is pull a pattern, cut out the pieces, and then dye just the pieces, because I don't want to dye all of this, because being a sheet, there is a lot here to work with, and I don't necessarily want everything that comes out of it to be that like rust red sort of color. So let's look at patterns and go from there. All right, let's see what I have. I want something that's got armholes, so potentially maybe this. I'm not sure it's quite the type of shape I'm looking for with the pattern is the only thing, because I don't want to have to cut out an overly large number of pieces to just get what I need for the back. Keep that in consideration. Potentially I could extend a top, but yeah, it looks like this is darted rather than having individual back panel pieces. This, no, this also has that same sort of construction. I don't know if I currently have anything with side panels specifically. This won't work because it's sleeveless and the bust is completely different sleeves. So we have sleeve options. I don't know if I'll use any of these, but there's sleeves. So you have sleeves, but no side panels. Nope, that's a solid piece. Nope, solid. The front has side panels, but not the back. This is an old favorite of mine, and I know it doesn't have sleeves, but potentially could add a sleeve to this shape here. I'll have to do
a little modification on the top of the back, but the side on the bottom could work. Maybe we'll try this one. Costuming. This is from my wedding dress. I mean, technically that could work too, but that's also a lot more patterning to work with. Okay, so let's see if I can modify this guy here to suit my needs. Alright, so I have the bodice pieces, and then I also have the side front and side back. And what I'm doing is, instead of cutting the front and back on the fold, I'm just offsetting it a bit. And then what I'm going to do is probably cut straight across here, because I don't need that neckline. I just need it to be a straight line going into the armhole, and then I can always adjust where this falls once I have it kind of put together-ish. I can take it in or just kind of shift it over as needed. So I plan to just go ahead and cut these pieces out, and I'm going to throw them in the dye bath, and I will come back when I'm ready to do the assembly of it.
Alright, so it's the next day. Forgive me for being a bit of a mess. I was taking a nap. My allergies are really bugging me. But anyways, I made a couple of mistakes last night when I was cutting out those pieces from the machine. Well, not when I was cutting them out, but regarding them. So the first is that I did not cut sleeves when I was cutting the pieces. So when I threw them in the dye bath, the other pieces that is, I realized I did not have sleeves, and that meant that there was a chance that they weren't going to all dye the same, which would look a little funky. I have already found a solution for that. But the second thing, which may actually have been my very, very first error, was that I did not read the fabric, like what the content of it was. All my dyes are for natural to like natural blends, and this sheeting is 100% polyester. So I realized something was amiss when I put it in, and after a few minutes it wasn't becoming like really saturated with the color. And that's when I went and looked at the tag on the sheet. It was barely legible anymore, but there it was, 100% polyester. So not a big difference. It definitely, like you can see, it definitely warmed the tone. So that's fine. I think that just by altering the color a little bit, let me grab the flannel. I think just by altering the color that little bit, I think it suits the flannel better. Because while yes, there's grays, they're a little bit different tone from this gray. You can see. And I feel like even just that minor alteration of the color has pulled that fabric into the flannel a little better. So I'm not devastated by this. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It would have worked even if it hadn't dyed at all. So yes, we're just going to proceed with this. As for the sleeves, earlier today I actually went to the thrift store with a friend, and I found just this shirt. It is still damp. It's not all the way dry. I just hand washed it because I didn't feel like running a load of laundry just for one shirt. But what I'm gonna do is just chop the sleeves off. You can see that the thing that took me longest at the thrift store was I didn't have any like swatches with me, but I think the color fits in just fine, especially you have the brown stripe here, which I know, okay, there we go. I'm not in the best lighting right now, but I think that combination will be just fine. But yeah, I'm gonna chop the sleeves off, and they're not quite as like loose as I was hoping for. So I think what I'm gonna do, because potentially, I mean, I could use some of the fabric from like the rest of the shirt to just make them bigger, but I think I'm gonna add some interest to them by like running a slash along the top. And if I have enough of it, because we still have to cut off the bottom of the other shirt, I think I'll use small pieces of that to like put little bands to keep it from like completely falling open, just to give the sleeves some interest. I think that can work. And I also plan on, when I cut off the cuff, there's just a very small button band, so it's already in a position that I could just take the cuff from the other shirt and put it on this one, which will tie it back to the body of the dress. So I'm going to just start by getting the body assembled. I'm gonna take the bodice and skirt pieces, stitch them together, and then it's just pretty much gonna be the same process of stitching it to the outside parts of the shirt. So just to skip having a whole bunch of sewing montages, I'm just gonna get that assembled off camera, especially since I now see that my battery light is flashing. I probably should have plugged that in last night. I need to get another one. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get that assembled off camera, and then we can start looking at doing the detail work on both pieces. Yeah. All right, side panels are attached. It is quite loose on me, so I am going to do a little bit of tailoring, get this really nipped in on the sides. I don't mind the fabric being looser down below, but I do want a nice fit up here. So I'm gonna do some tailoring. I want to make sure that all of this is good before I attach the sleeves, because it is probably going to impact the size of the sleeve hole at least a little bit. But yeah, I feel like I've got a good start, so that makes me quite pleased that it worked as well as it did. All right, so I went ahead and took it in, and it is much more flattering now. Not too tight, but not like super baggy. So next up is to cut the sleeves off of the other shirt and slash them down the center. I'm not sure if I'm going to attach them before or after I put on the little tabs. TBD, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut off the sleeves and cut out all the little thingamajiggies, and then start doing the attaching of all of that after. Alright, we have garments, we have cuffs and letters and sleeve tabs, so it is time to get this all put together and finish these garments. finally finished them. I succumbed to my allergies before I was able to finish sewing, and it's taken a few days to feel well enough to wrap up all the details and then go out and film. But here we are, finally feeling better, and with two really cute and cozy new tops to wear. I'm actually super happy with how they turned out. The like dress sort of top was a little touch and go for a moment. I wasn't sure how it was gonna come out, but I'm really happy with it. Happy with this. This is so soft and cozy, being flannel and just t-shirt material. I can see myself, regardless of it being like autumny, wearing it through the rest of the cool weather that we have this season. Because it's finally here. It's part of why I was sick. But I'll take it because it's been so hot, and so it finally feels like fall time now, which is nice. So yeah, I would say if you have old clothes and you just don't dig them anymore, try patchworking them, try Frankensteining them together, because you might come out with something super cute that you weren't anticipating having. So yeah, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you to relax in peace, and that I see you in the next one. Bye.